What's up, everyone? This is part two of episode 124, March Madness edition. And we touched up on the men's tournament last episode, or part one of this episode. Now we're going to do the women's side, the NCAA women's side of the bracket. Yeah, had a lot to talk about on the men's side. We're going to have just as much to talk about on the women's side. So let's get to it. Brad, let's pull up a bracket and let's go.
You gotta you gotta enable the screen sharing again.
Oh, is that what I was wondering why it wasn't already pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're good to go. I was thinking that I was like, we should probably have already done that, but at least now
Yeah.
know how to do it. Remember how to.
Well, heck, we can just pick SC with one button. Look at that.
I actually did that one time, but I didn't like it because it went ahead and like filled everything out automatically, and I had to go in and change what I didn't like.
Hmm.
So I prefer this way better. Having said that, South Carolina, the number one overall seed, I'm going to take them in the opening round easy over whoever the heck that is, the
Yeah.
play-in 16. I mean, who would that be? Like Seton Hall or and
You got me.
Presbyterian? I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, we're going to go the Gamecocks in that one, the SEC champions, the only undefeated team in college basketball right now. Okay, matchup number two, we got Michigan State, North Carolina. Ugh, 8 and a 9 matchup. Let's see the preview on that. Not an impressive record from the North Carolina women.
No.
12, and yet they're the 8 seed. I'm guessing strength of schedule has a lot to do with that. You know what? Big Ten team. You know, I've paid more attention to the Big Ten with that being Iowa's conference. I'll go Michigan State in that matchup.
Moving on, Oklahoma and what what is
Florida,
FG?
Florida Gulf Coast University, maybe. Let's hit the preview and see if it'll say. It does not.
It does not. Yeah, Florida
Florida
Gulf Coast Eagles.
nailed it. Now, one thing about the women's side, it is typically more predictable. It's definitely way more predictable than the men's side is. Men's
Yeah.
side has a lot of upsets all the time.
Not so much madness.
Not as much. There were quite a few upsets last season on the women's side, but still not like the men's side, where you see where it's not. You're always going to see a 12 beat a 5. But I like Oklahoma in this one. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case on the women's side. I like the Sooners here. I definitely like Indiana over Fairfield in the opening round. A lot of Big Ten teams here. Texas A&M had some tradition with Gary Blair. He's no longer there. He's retired, but won a national championship there. I like this Nebraska team. They played Iowa tough every time they played this season. Of course, they matched up in the Big Ten championship. I like Nebraska this game, but let's click on the preview here just to see if we can get a little more info. Anything on the players? I believe Jazz Shelley is her name. Yep, there it is.
Jazz Shelley.
Yeah, Jazz Shelley averages 13 a game. A big time player for the Cornhuskers. They got a couple more players. Go up a little more. Who was that at the top? Looks like leading scorer Alexis Markowski. Yeah, I believe she's the post player there for Nebraska. She's another solid player. But Jazz Shelley in the game that they did beat Iowa in the regular season, the second matchup of the two toward the end of the season, Jazz Shelley outplayed Caitlin Clark in the fourth quarter. Had a hell of a game and led Nebraska to an upset win over Iowa. The game was in Nebraska on a neutral floor course in the Big Ten championship game. Nebraska took them to overtime, and Iowa just separated themselves. I really like this Nebraska team, and yeah, and some of the players they have, Jazz Shelley in particular. So yeah, I like Nebraska there. Again, that's the thing on the women's side. I know the players. And I know the players. Jazz Shelley is a senior, I believe, and it's just players that stick around longer. You're going to get to know. You can't get to know guys that are one and done.
Yeah.
Oregon State and Eastern Washington. I like Eastern Washington's football field. They basically took after what UCA did, University of Central Arkansas, and made it their school's colors. It's red and black, but guess what? This is basketball and women's basketball. I like Oregon State in this over Eastern Washington. Ole Miss and Marquette. Now I know the SEC teams. Primarily South Carolina and LSU, the top dogs, but Mississippi Miss or Ole Miss has a good team, but so does Marquette traditionally. Ole Miss stomped Arkansas toward the end of the season. I did watch that uh, second half of that game on a Sunday, into the regular season matchup. Which, by the way, I saw that Arkansas's best player, or at least one of Sailor Poffenbarger, I believe is how you say her last name. She hit the transfer portal, and I don't think she's the only one. So, not looking good there upon the hill for Razorback women's basketball. Um, Mike Neighbors as a guy seems like a great dude. His job might be there. That seat's probably pretty warm right now.
Yeah. See a lot of people asking for his buyout. So
Yeah, well, and you lose your best players and you finish toward the bottom of the league. That's never a good thing. But I like going back to this game. I like Ole Miss in this one over Marquette, and I like Notre Dame over Kent State. Notre Dame has become just a traditional power in women's college basketball. They of course won it all in exciting fashion several years ago. At this point, 2018 or 19, I believe. I think it was 2018. Might be the most exciting women's basketball game I ever saw. Probably was. Yeah, I like Notre Dame there. I don't know that a 16. I don't think a 16 seed has ever beaten a 1 seed in the women's tournament. Just the parity is not the same on the women's side as it is the men's side. So during the UConn years when they were just extremely dominant, I paid zero attention to women's basketball just because it wasn't interesting.
yeah.
We're going to see some of these games on this side of the bracket, or the women's side of the bracket. You're going to see some 80-40 games, especially in these opening rounds. It's not good for the game. I hate that part of the game. The not good for the game crowd has an argument here. That's my big knock on women's college basketball, but the parity has gotten much better in recent years, and having the star factor with certain players certainly helps too. So, long-winded way of saying I like Texas over Drexel.
All right, Alabama, Florida State.
I don't know much about either team. Let's click on their preview.
Very similar record.
Very similar. Alabama, I would say, plays probably in the tougher conference, at least as far as the top teams. And to only have 9 losses in that conference when you've had to play South Carolina and LSU, I don't know how many times, but I'd be curious to see the scores. I'll take Alabama in that.
All right. Utah and South Dakota State.
Let's go Utah there. Let's see their records just out of curiosity. Good record for the Jackrabbits, San Diego
Yeah.
State. But this is a major step up in what they're used to playing. So I'm still like Utah there. And I'll go Gonzaga over UC Irvine. And I like Tennessee. I like the Lady Vols over Green Bay. What's Green Bay's mascot? Will it say on the preview?
Uh,
Is it
Phoenixes.
Green Bay Phoenixes? Makes total sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Tennessee there. I like North Carolina State over Chattanooga. Now, this would be one where this is actually one I would think about Iowa State and Maryland. Not that hard after seeing their records. I'll go Iowa State over Maryland. And I like Stanford over Norfolk State. Uh, I am stay back down there just for a little bit, just because I want to see. Okay, they play on the 22nd, which is Friday at 9 o'clock. I have a half marathon that I'm pacing Saturday morning in Little Rock, technically North Little Rock, over at Burns Park. But I would really, I want to check out at least the first half of this game so I can watch Cameron Brink, All American center for Stanford. I think she averages around 17 and 13, 17 points, 13 boards. Unanimous first team All American. Yeah, okay, yeah, close. 17, nearly 18 points per game, 12 rebounds. Um, Heck of a player. Absolute smoke show of a lady too. So, uh, as far as I mean, I'm watching for the game, but it's aesthetically pleasing too.
Yeah.
Uh, heck of a player. I am, and I haven't seen her play much. I just know of her, so I do look forward to watching a little bit of that one. I like Stanford over Iowa State there. All right, let's scroll up to the other side of the bracket here. Is there any matchup on here you'd feel comfortable? Well, not picking, but giving additional info on, or have I become the women's college basketball guy on this show, like you become the golf?
Yeah, I believe you're the women's college basketball guy on this show.
That's fair. Okay. All right. I like Iowa over whoever the heck they're playing.
Yeah.
And that's Saturday at 2 p.m. Look forward to watching that matchup. Or just, well, not necessarily that matchup. I just look forward to watching them play. They'll probably win by 40 points. West Virginia, Princeton, 8 and 9. So really, these 8 and 9 matchups are really going to be the only ones that I'm going to think long and hard about. Even that just kind of seems like a toss up.
Yeah.
West Virginia is in what conference? Are they in a? It's not the ACC, is it? Or are they? Are they an ACC team?
I can't remember.
I'm sure Princeton has a lot of shooters, a lot of people that can shoot. So if they get hot, could be interesting. I like the record. You know what? For whatever reason, uh, but I West Virginia's coach can't remember his name, but he had an interesting quote that I liked. He basically said, "Let's take care of business and go sing Caitlin Clark packing." It was a good thing to motivate a squad. But I could see Princeton just as easily coming in and playing Iowa. I'll take West Virginia just because I want to see that matchup. I like West Virginia's matchup or record, but also I just want to kind of see that matchup just to see what they can do. I like Colorado over Drake. Colorado started the year very strong, stomping LSU in the regular season opener. I mean, beating the brakes off of them, and I loved it just because. Well, obviously the way that last season ended, uh, and Angel Reese's antics, etc., just made me naturally want to root against them. But no, well, not just that. It was that, and then they just created a super team. It was
Yeah.
basically the Heatles in Baton Rouge, going and getting Haley Van Lith and Anissa Morrow, the top two players in the transfer portal. So they were by far and away should have been the number one team in the preseason. Just see them get like worked in the first game of the following season was just it was funny to me. So I'm not a LSU hater by any means, but it's did I like to see that? Yes, I did. All right, but yeah, like Colorado there over Drake. Let's go. What's Portland's record? This is a 4 versus 13 matchup. Kansas State and Portland.
21-12.
Yeah, a 4-13. I'll go Kansas State in this one. Do we even have an upset? I don't think we do.
Yeah, we've got a 9 over an 8.
Okay, there you go. All right. So we do have that. That makes me feel better about that choice.
Yeah.
Let's preview Louisville and Middle Tennessee State because Haley Van Lith again no longer with Louisville. So this could be and so they lost their best player to the transfer portal. 9 loss team, Middle Tennessee State, an 11 seed. Oh, they got some Middle Tennessee State's got some good players,
Yeah.
but I'm sure Louisville does too. You know what? I'll go Middle Tennessee State in this one.
Upset alert.
Upset
Sound the
alert.
alarm.
11 beating a 6. I got LSU over Rice.
Yeah.
Let's preview that just to get a little more statistics on LSU. I know Angel Reese, the SEC Player of the Year, deservedly so. 19 points per game, 13 rebounds. Anissa Morrow, as I touched up on, probably the top transfer or top player out of the transfer portal, along with Haley Van Lith, 16 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. I wonder if Haley Van Lith regrets that decision at all, just because she was a star a year ago, and now
Yeah.
she's a role player. She doesn't. I don't know that she fits in necessarily with what they do. She's had some really good games. It's not a knock on her, and I mean, she gets hers, just not as often. And I mean, there's only one ball, so there's only so much you can do. I wonder if she regrets that at all. Now, if they win a national championship, I'm sure it'd be worth it. But I don't know. I didn't like her. I didn't like that move for her because it felt like the Kevin Durant move. It
Yeah.
felt like as soon as I saw that she was going to LSU, I just thought of Kevin Durant's tweet with him of himself with his hands on his hips, looking off or whatever. My next chapter. That's that's what I thought of as soon as I heard that announcement. I was like, come on. But I don't know. I didn't like it, but so they became, like I said, the super team that you just naturally wanted to root for. I don't root for the Yankees. I don't know that I root against them really either, but I don't root for them just for stuff like that. And that's been the case with LSU. But LSU, I got them over Rice, 3 seed beating a 14 seed. Creighton UNLV. Let's check out the preview for that one.
Dang.
Wow.
UNLV only with 2 losses.
Looking like the running rebels of the 90s, the Larry Johnson years. That's at least record wise.
Yeah.
It's um that's an interesting matchup, but Creighton is Creighton. What's Creighton's record again?
25-5.
Ooh, this is an interesting 7-10 matchup. That is interesting, man. And this is a Saturday at 6 p.m. game. I might have to find a way to check this out. Wow, that's impressive. This is a coin flip to me. I don't have a. Let's scroll down. Let's see what the wins, quality wins are if they do show them.
If Creighton,
They beat Nebraska, very good team. Beat you. Wow. Okay, okay. Got the brakes beat off of them by UConn.
yeah,
Lost to Marquette. No shame in that. But you beat Nebraska. I've seen Nebraska is a very good team. I think you can click on you. Okay, yeah. Man, got worked by Seton Hall. Um, some very close wins for UNLV over some not so powerful programs. I'll go Creighton in this matchup. That helped make that decision easier. I like UCLA. UCLA over, assume that's California Baptist.
I believe so.
Let's see what their record is, though, just to, I mean, to say it has to be really good. But yeah, I like UCLA here. Let's scroll down a little bit just to get a little more info on UCLA because I know that they have a really good player as well. A couple of them. Um, yeah, Lauren Betts, 14 points per game, 9 boards. Is that Charisma Osborne?
Yeah, charisma.
Well, there you go. That makes it, yeah, Charisma Osborne. She's probably like really reserved. But yeah, I like UCLA there. Okay,
All right.
all right. So round okay, we're still on round one.
Yeah. Last region.
Okay. I gotta get
USC and the play-in game.
this is easy. USC.
Yeah.
Juju Watkins. All right, and I'll go ahead and say this here. I teased the person I really look forward to watching that I haven't gotten to see much of this year, or really any, and that would be Juju Watkins, the freshman out of USC, the freshman guard. I've seen her highlights. Very exciting player. Very Caitlin Clark esque as far as numbers. Being a freshman, I think she's second in the country in scoring. I think she's averaging 27 a game. Yeah, there you go, 27 a game, 7 boards.
Dang.
Yeah, freshman guard for USC. Check out her highlights. She's the real deal. She is the future of women's college basketball and is going to be a lot of fun to watch over the next at least 2 years. Because I have a very good feeling the WNBA is going to explode a little bit with revenue with Clark going to the league, and that'll probably inspire Juju to follow suit after year 3 or so. But she's the player I really look forward to watching the most, apart from Caitlin Clark, who I've seen lots of. I've seen lots of Caitlin Clark on the floor, Iowa games. I haven't gotten to see USC player Juju Watkins, so that's the one I really look forward to the most. Player that is. So USC over either Texas A&M or whoever the heck CC is. Okay, Kansas, Michigan. I've seen Michigan, and I've seen them play. I've seen them when they play Iowa, and uh, they've looked good a little bit. But in the Big Ten tournament, Iowa just beat the brakes off of them. But Kansas's record isn't anything impressive. But um, yeah, just Michigan fell apart in that Big Ten tournament, and I just can't pick them. I mean, I think they're well coached, but I just don't. I can't pick them after that. I'll go Kansas. I'll take a traditional power Baylor over whatever 12C will make it into the play-in. I like Virginia Tech just in general, not just in this game. Virginia Tech, better team last year, but still they have a really good. Let's click on the preview for them, and you can go to the Baylor matchup if you want. It doesn't matter. I need to remember that little guard for Virginia Tech. That's it, Georgia Amore. She's a sharpshooter there for the Hokies. Very good player. Apparently, Elizabeth Kitley is too. 22 points, 11 boards a game. Guessing that's a post player for them. But Georgia Moore is a very solid, solid guard for Virginia Tech. I watched them early against Iowa, earlier or like early in the regular season, like kind of the start of the season, and she was very impressive. Impressed me quite a bit. Georgia Moore, that is. So I like Virginia Tech in that. We'll take 6 seed Syracuse over either Auburn or Arizona. And I got UConn over Jackson State. That was not a difficult one. Uh, let's see Duke Richmond. Let's just see that. Okay, not necessarily a gimme.
No.
Let's go to Richmond 22 and what did their record say? 29-5. Okay.
29-5, yeah.
All right. And is there a way you can click on their info, like to get their schedule? You scroll down, like we did yeah, there you go. Okay, already got stomped
They
by
got
Duke by
throttled by
30.
Duke, yeah.
All right, so let's we'll stick with Duke in this one. So maybe it is a gimme.
Iowa State, Maine.
Not a difficult one for me. Ohio State, one of the teams to beat Iowa this season. Cody McMahon was very hit or miss though in the two games I saw. JC Sheldon is a very good player for them. She's the one that guards Caitlin Clark when they play. And she's a very good player. But Cody McMahon looked like an absolute first team All American in the game that I saw them beat Iowa, and in the rematch, which was last regular season game, I believe, just was a complete non-factor. Uh, might as well have been 4-on-5 out there. I mean, just was a complete non-factor. So you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. And Ohio State was at home when they beat Iowa. So to go to Iowa and then just essentially not even show up, that was disappointing to see. But still, Ohio State's still a very good team, and I definitely got them worthy of a 2 seed, and I so completely would have them winning the opening round at least. So, all right, so we're through round one. It's a good thing this was a two-parter. There's no way we could have gotten all this in one episode.
Oh,
Absolutely
no.
not. All right, so where are we starting?
We can start at the top.
Might
Let's
as
go
well.
ahead and South Carolina.
South
Moving
Carolina.
on.
South Carolina. I like Indiana over Oklahoma, round two.
All right.
Okay. To me, this is tricky. Okay, 6 seed Nebraska and 3 seed Oregon State. Let's preview that. Yeah, Oregon State, very good record and a very good conference. And I haven't seen enough of them to really have a great opinion on it. And it really depends on what Nebraska team you're going to get. But Nebraska's lost a lot of really close games. You know what? I'm going to go Nebraska in this. I don't love it. I don't love this pick. I could very easily see Oregon State winning it, but I like this Nebraska team. I'll pick them, and I like Notre Dame over Ole Miss. Okay,
Iowa
back
over
to
West Virginia.
yes, absolutely. And I like let's preview this Colorado and Kansas State. I want to say Colorado, but then I mean, yeah, you look at that, and I mean, Colorado's dropped off quite a bit from where they started in the regular season. But they were a tough tournament team last year. I think they can continue that this year. So another upset. That's two in a row, pretty
Two
much.
in a row.
Well, two out of three. But yeah, I'll take 5 seed Colorado over Kansas State. I like LSU over Middle Tennessee State. Don't have to think much on that one. And I like UCLA over Creighton.
All right, let's start over here. Texas and Alabama.
I like Texas. Let's preview Utah and Gonzaga. Let's go Zags. Although
Zags it is.
that's a toss-up game, but I like Texas over Gonzaga there. All right. I like North Carolina State. Yeah, I do. I like them over Tennessee, and I like Stanford over Iowa State. I'll go
Tennessee
USC
over
over
Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah, Juju Watkins company, not betting against them. I like Vatek over Baylor for reasons I've already mentioned. Georgia and Moore and company, and we'll preview UConn in the next round or so. So obviously I have them moving on over Syracuse, or we'll preview them now. Yeah, UConn. Yeah, UConn advancing over Stanford. I like Ohio State over Duke. All right, so are we through the round of 16 now?
Yeah. We'll just stick down here.
Might as well. Let's go to UConn, Ohio State. Now we'll preview UConn. UConn, I mean, still they're not the extreme power that they were in the 90s and early 2000s, but still very good program. Paige Becker's worth watching. Future or already a star, but future star at the next level too, averaging 21 a game. Aaliyah Edwards, another very good player, 17 points per game, 9 rebounds. Uh, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Cody McMahon, Aaliyah Edwards, and J.C. Sheldon and Paige Beckers. This would be a very fun matchup to see. Let's go back up to the records. Yeah, this could very well be a toss-up game. Oh, wow. But you know what? It's UConn. I'll take the Huskies here. Uh, I'll take it. Like Ohio State has two really good players, but I'll take a star player when it's a toss-up like that. Paige Beckers and company. I'll go UConn there. And Stanford NC State is interesting. I like Stanford here. I'll take Cameron Brink. But NC State, a very good program, and I like Texas over Gonzaga. And this could be a very exciting matchup. Let's preview that real quick. Vatek SC. This could be a very interesting matchup. I think the Hokies could give them a really tough time. But you know what? I'll go USC in this one. Says something about the Pac-12 champion, uh, or at least the number one overall seed. Like I said, my TV went out, so I don't know who won the tournament. But give me Iowa over Colorado, South Carolina over Indiana. Although that could be interesting. It depends on what Indiana team shows up. They bring their A game. They could at least give them a fit. So, but I still got South Carolina pretty easy in that. As much as I like Nebraska, I didn't love picking them over Oregon State, and I definitely would not pick them over Notre Dame. Another player to watch for Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo, very good player. Let's preview that just so we can get a little info on her. There you go. First team All American guard, 23 points per game, and with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. That's going to be a handful for Jazz Shelley if those two match up. So I like Notre Dame there. Hannah Hidalgo, another player to watch for on the women's side. Okay, and UCLA LSU. Let's preview this one. And there's some really good games on the women's side, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially. But we're more likely to see these matchups just because of, like I said, it's a little more predictable on the women's side. Yeah, this could be interesting. Angel Reese and Lauren Betts going at it. Nisa Morrow and Charisma Osborne. This could be a really fun matchup. I would really like to see this. Big wins for UCLA. I mean, look at that. They beaten Stanford, they beaten UConn, they beaten Ohio State. They beaten Colorado when Colorado was hot. Lost by 10 to SC. I like LSU. It's hard. Like LSU has played South Carolina close in the games that they played, and the two games they played, two or three, whatever it is. I mean, they played them very close. I like LSU here. Do we want to stay here? LSU. Let's go back up. Let's just do LSU Iowa now. The theoretical rematch of last year's national championship game. Let's preview that just because why not? I mean, we'd have to, right? Haven't
Yeah.
previewed anything for Iowa yet. LSU's losses, really all quality losses, except I don't know if Colorado would count, but I mean that was early in the year. It's a brand new team learning to play together. Gosh, Caitlin Clark, man, best women's basketball player I've ever seen. Nearly 32 points per game, 9 rebounds, nearly 9 assists per game. Absolute star. Hannah Stolke has really stepped up in place of what I cannot remember her name. The post player they had last year that was really good. Wozniak maybe, or Wozniak, one of those two, I think. Hannah Stolke, really good sophomore player for Iowa. Only sophomore in the starting lineup. The rest are seniors and really nice players. Yeah. Gosh, this is interesting. Um, Kate Martin, another good one for Iowa. Uh, gosh, that really good Molly Davis. I'm drawing blanks on names all of a sudden. Molly Davis, a player that I don't know if she's going to be able to return. She got hurt at the regular season finale, I believe it was against Ohio State. So not sure if she's going to be healthy enough to play. They're saying she should be able to play for the tournament, but we'll see. I'm going to go LSU. Caitlin Clark's the best player. LSU's the better team. So we'll go LSU here. I like South Carolina over Notre Dame. And we'll go. I like USC over UConn. You know what? I will go. What's Texas's record? Wow. You know what? I'll go Stanford. Cameron Brink and company. I'll go Stanford over Texas. So Final Four matchup. I like South Carolina over Stanford. And as much as I like Juju Watkins, I like LSU as a team better. I'll go LSU. So I've got an SEC championship rematch in the national championship game, South Carolina and LSU. And I've got the Gamecocks. I've got the Gamecocks winning it all. I will say, I will say 75-73.
All
There you go.
right.
Good math there. All right, so I got South Carolina over LSU in the women's national championship game, and yeah. So there you go. That's my NCAA women's bracket, and we're gonna get out of here, and we'll see y'all next week and catch up on March Madness, both the men's and women's side. Till then, this is Graham Powell.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.